Incredible moment, unseen cleaning lady speaks Japanese to CEO, revealing a life-changing secret. Ava pushed her cleaning cart through the sleek, glass-walled hallways, surrounded by innovation and ambition, but feeling more of a ghost than a part of it all. At 28, her hard-working hands wiped dust from surfaces that sparkled in the fluorescent light, as if trying to polish away her own silent existence. She longed to be recognized beyond her job, to prove to the world and mostly to herself that she was more than just a cleaning lady. Memories of her late grandfather, a World War II veteran who taught her the values of resilience and dedication, ran through her mind, sparking a fierce inner fire. He'd taught her Japanese, fostering a connection to her family heritage that she carried like a hidden treasure. Her mother's sacrifices as an immigrant, battling adversity from each new language spoken around her, fueled Ava's determination to fight for her own voice. Meanwhile, in the corner office, CEO Mr. Thompson wrung his hands, the weight of expectation bearing down on his shoulders. This presentation was supposed to secure an unprecedented deal with their Japanese partners, but a sudden language barrier appeared like an insurmountable wall. A wave of frustration washed over him. He needed clarity, not to mention a smooth negotiation. Yet, there he was, a charismatic leader unable to ask for help, too proud to admit that sometimes, in order to rise, one must lean on others. Outside his door, Ava continued her work, quietly listening as Thompson's voice scratched against the sterile air, each expletive punctuating the tension. As he raged about the impending disaster, Ava felt an ache blossom inside her, a complex mix of indignation and empathy. She wanted to shout out, to tell him that all his problems could vanish in an instant, but the words lodged in her throat. She was just the cleaning lady, or was she? Then it happened, a fateful collision. Ava pushed her cart too close to the CEO's door, and startled, he turned right into her, spilling papers that cascaded like autumn leaves across the polished floor. "I'm so," he began, but his words faltered when he looked up and made eye contact. In that moment, Ava felt a spark ignite, an unspoken potential shared between them. "I can help," she said suddenly, surprising herself as much as him. Thompson's brow furrowed, skepticism written all over his face. But then realization dawned. She had spoken in Japanese, fluidly, as if channeling the ghost of her grandfather. You speak?" he asked, incredulous. "Yes," Ava asserted, heart racing. "I am fluent." In that instant, the narrative between them shifted. Ava wasn't merely a cleaner, she was a bridge to understanding. They began to navigate the nuances of language and culture, each moment bonding them more deeply. Every rise in their professional stakes revealed not only the dynamics of their roles but the subtleties of respect and teamwork. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As days turned into invigorating hustle, Ava discovered newfound confidence blooming inside her. She caught glimpses of pride on Mr. Thompson's face as they rehearsed together, and in those moments, she could feel the shift in the atmosphere around them. But as they edged closer to presentation day, the stakes felt heavier. Ava stood on the precipice of something monumental, a chance to prove her worth not just to herself, but to an entire room of powerful people. Just moments before stepping into the conference room, Thompson stopped, his eyes locking onto hers. The resolve that had been so confident began to waver. Would he have the courage to acknowledge her in front of everyone? Would he see her, really see her? The question lingered, leaving both of them standing on the edge of change, unaware of how deeply intertwined their destinies had become. The air in the conference room felt electric as Ava and Thompson faced a sea of expectant faces. As the door swung open, Ava's heart pounded in her chest, the drumming echoing in her ears. This was a defining moment she had dreamed of, yet it all felt surreal. The room was bright, illuminated with polished confidence, yet the anxiety hanging in the air was palpable. Ava could feel her palms dampening, but she reminded herself of her grandfather's voice, always encouraging her to face challenges head-on. As they stepped inside, Thompson's posture stiffened. He took a deep breath, a mask of professionalism quickly reinforcing his nerves as he gestured for her to take a place beside him. The boardroom buzzed with small talk before the presentation officially began. Executives shuffled pitches and crumpled papers, their impatience bubbling just beneath the surface. Ava stood quietly, absorbing the atmosphere, reminding herself that she belonged. Beside her, Thompson began to present, his voice steady as he detailed the importance of their partnership with the Japanese company. During the initial slides, Ava found her thoughts drifting. She scanned the faces, each one representing years of dedication and hard work, people who had climbed the corporate ladder to get here. No doubt, they had faced their own battles. But she couldn't help but wonder if any had ever felt the way she did, small, invisible in the midst of giants. As the presentation flowed smoothly, Thompson shifted gears and glanced at her. A raw vulnerability swept across his face. Before we proceed, I want to introduce someone who has been vital in bridging our discussions, he said hesitantly. This is Ava, our language specialist. Ava's heart skipped a beat. Language specialist? That felt foreign yet powerful. In her mind's eye, she saw her grandfather nodding, pride illuminating his weathered face. She stepped forward, feeling like she was stumbling into uncharted territory. Hello everyone, she said, her voice unexpectedly confident. I'm Ava, and I'm here to help clarify any cultural nuances that may arise during our discussions. The silence that followed was thick, but she held her breath and pressed on. Communication extends far beyond just words. It's about understanding and respect for one another's cultures. The room shifted. A couple of executives leaned forward, intrigued. For the first time, Ava felt the weight of their gazes lift just a little. Mr. Thompson smiled subtly, a kind of relief washing over his features. As conversations began to unfold, Ava translated phrases with ease, offering insights that transformed nerves into connection. The Japanese team's representatives nodded appreciatively, warmth radiating from their expressions. The back and forth flowed between their languages, and in that moment, Ava realized she was no longer invisible. The energy in the room surged, the dialogue growing richer and deeper. But just as Ava began to bask in this unexpected success, a moment of uncertainty darkened her joy. What if they hated her ideas? What if she faltered and slipped back into the shadows? A chokehold of fear gripped her throat. In that instant, she caught Thompson's eye. He returned a look of encouragement that ignited her determination. Reassured, she pressed on, dodging doubt like she had guessed wrong on the next step of a dance. The presentation concluded with applause, and a satisfied atmosphere settled. Ava felt an exhilarating buzz wash over her, the tremors of accomplishment buzzing in her veins. This wasn't just a victory for Thompson or for the CEO, it was hers. But as the executives filed out, Ava caught sight of Thompson again. He seemed deep in thought, his brow knitted. Had she really proven herself enough? She approached him, heart racing again, a small part of her hoping to have a moment alone amid the crowd. Did I do okay? Did you feel? He cut her off, his eyes softening. You were brilliant. You've changed the dynamic of this presentation. I can't believe I almost overlooked you before. For a heartbeat, they stood together, a shared sense of triumph blooming between them. But then, right before the closing door, a stern figure from the Japanese side returned. One more thing, he said, looking directly at Thompson and then at Ava, there is something you don't know. A shiver ran down Ava's spine. What did he mean? Her newfound confidence suddenly felt fragile in the face of uncertainty. What was the surprise that would shift this moment yet again? Ava stood frozen, a chill creeping up her spine as the words hung in the air, heavy with implication. The stern man's eyes darted between her and Thompson. Every heartbeat felt like a drumroll, a countdown to something pivotal. Was there a twist in the partnership? Did they uncover a misunderstanding she had missed? She swallowed hard, desperation clawing at her insides. What do you mean? Thompson asked, his voice steady but tinged with caution. The man straightened, his demeanor shifting as he continued, "We've been conducting our own research regarding your company's history and processes. It appears there are discrepancies." He turned fully to Ava. "And your skills will play a key role in accessing an important dialogue." Ava blinked. Discrepancies? The word settled over her like a thick fog. The air felt heavy again, but this time it wasn't just anxiety. It was apprehension deep, gripping. She thought back to everything she had said in her presentation. Had she misrepresented something? Thompson's brow furrowed. What kind of discrepancies? The man hesitated, words seemingly stuck in his throat. Ava watched the tension tighten around him, and suddenly, at that moment, she felt a spark of determination. Maybe this was her chance to dive deeper into the cultural gap she had identified. Against the tide of uncertainty washing over her, the idea began to form, the contours of a plan taking shape. She had to speak up. "Maybe there's additional context that could help," she offered, stepping forward. "If you'll allow me, I can help bridge that gap. It's what I've trained for." The man regarded her skeptically, but Thompson's nod gave her a boost. Ava's perspective can uncover insights. Let us hear it. Swallowing her nerves, Ava felt the air thicken with the potential of change. "I have knowledge of both languages, but more importantly, I have an understanding of the cultures that shape these companies. There may be nuances that have been overlooked." The man pondered her words. Slowly, the tension in his shoulders eased, as if she had unwittingly released some pressure cooker of anticipation. "Very well. We'll arrange a follow-up meeting. But I need to know, can you articulate how our companies align culturally?" Ava took a deep breath. This was it, a real chance to prove herself. "Absolutely. There are values both firms share, rooted in trust and mutual growth. I can help us focus on that foundation." For the first time, she saw a flicker of intrigue in the man's eyes. There was potential here not just for her career but for a partnership that could genuinely flourish. Thompson looked at her, and for a split second, she saw amazement reflected in his gaze. Their shared triumph from earlier nodded with this new challenge, the pressure rising again in the space between them. But this time, she felt equipped, ready to handle it all. "Great," Thompson said confidently. "Let us strategize for that meeting." He turned to the stern man. "We appreciate your transparency. Together, we'll ensure that all aspects of this partnership are explored in earnest." Ava felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through her. She would prepare. She would not let fear shackle her again. When the time came, she would walk into that room and shine as brightly as she could, but as the weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What truths lay hidden beneath the surface? And more importantly, would she be ready to face them? As the meeting wrapped at last, Ava felt a familiar tremor in her stomach. There was so much more to navigate. And what had that man implied? The journey ahead could reshape everything, but it might also come at a cost she wasn't prepared to pay. The door closed behind them, but new shadows loomed. What secrets had yet to unfold? Ava could feel her heart beat anxiously against her chest as she exited the meeting room. The fluorescent lights overhead buzzed faintly, almost drowning out the relentless chatter of her racing thoughts. What had she just stepped into? Excitement mingled with uncertainty, twisting into a knot deep in her stomach. "Hey, you did great in there," Thompson said, his voice slicing through her whirlwind of thoughts. He paced beside her, his hands gesturing animatedly, as if trying to grasp the gravity of what had just transpired. "You really took charge." "Thanks," Ava replied, forcing a smile. The compliments felt like a lifeline, yet anxiety clung to her like a second skin. "But I can't help but wonder about those discrepancies." "Why now? What are they really after?" Thompson nodded, his brow furrowed. Yeah, it's odd. But we'll figure it out together. I trust you. His reassurance did little to chase away the chill creeping up her spine. What if Thompson was trusting her for more than she was prepared to deliver? They wandered into the break area, and Ava grabbed a cup of coffee, desperately seeking a sip of warmth to calm her nerves. The steam curling from the cup filled the air with a rich aroma, but her mind was too preoccupied to fully appreciate it. What does it mean that I could help access the dialogue? She murmured mostly to herself, staring into the cup as though clarity lies at the bottom. Thompson popped a sugar packet open beside her. You speak the language of both cultures. Maybe they're looking for a way to merge ideas, bring unity where there's division. He dropped the sugar into his coffee and stirred, the clinking sound mingling with the buzz of the office around them. What if Ava's voice trailed off as she caught a glimpse of the stern man she had spoken with earlier, standing at the far end of the room, deep in conversation with a group of executives. His back was turned, but she could feel the weight of his presence. What more did he know? Are you okay? Thompson's eyes softened as he sensed her tension. You look like you've seen a ghost. Ava inhaled deeply, grasping for the right words. What if they want me to be a pawn in their game? How can I guarantee I won't end up just being a tool for their agenda? Just focus on us, Thompson replied, his reassuring tone breaking through her doubts. Whatever they have planned, we'll meet it head-on. Together. Ava nodded, but the unease nestled deeper within her. She knew they had a partnership to fuel, but what lay beneath that partnership? As she turned to leave the break room, a sudden noise pulled her attention. A door swung open, and she froze just as a figure stepped inside. It was a cleaning lady, a gentle-looking woman, her hands adorned with rubber gloves, pushing an industrial cart filled with cleaning supplies. Startled, Ava instinctively moved aside. Then, to her shock, the woman looked up and spoke fluidly in Japanese, a serene expression gracing her face. For a brief moment, the world around Ava blurred. She caught fragments of the conversation the woman was addressing the stern man. What if she is part of this? Ava thought, her pulse quickening. The way the woman's voice seemed to dance with authority was unexpected. Thompson noticed her expression. What's wrong? Wait, Ava whispered, her eyes locked on the scene before her. The woman was gesturing with purpose, her tone earnest. The stern man's face darkened, then brightened. What was he hearing? Can you believe? Ava started, but her voice faded. What revelation was unfolding before them? What hidden truths connected them through this unassuming woman? In that moment, potential surged in her heart. Secrets threaded through the very air they breathed. As the conversation continued, Ava swallowed hard, her instincts screaming at her to listen closely. The answers she was seeking could be closer than she had imagined. What if the cleaning lady held the key to everything? What if her life-changing secret could rewrite the stakes? Ava thought she understood. Ava's heart raced as she focused intently on the conversation unfolding before her. The cleaning lady's calm demeanor stood in stark contrast to the tension filling the break room. She could barely hear the words, but the emotion behind them rang clear. The stern man shifted from annoyed to intrigued, leaning in closer, his brows furrowed. What do you think they're talking about? Thompson whispered, straining to hear. Ava shook her head, too fascinated to break her gaze. She sensed this wasn't just a passing exchange, this was a pivot point. The cleaning lady's voice, the gentle cadence, the confidence, it felt pivotal. Was she a mere janitor, or did she wield more influence than Ava had ever considered? As the words flowed between them like a subtle dance, Ava felt a pull, an instinct to know more. What if this woman revealed something that changed everything? Thompson nudged Ava before she could process her thoughts further. We should get closer. I can't hear anything from here. They crept further back into the shadows, careful not to draw attention. Every step felt electric, heightening Ava's sense of urgency. She had never felt this kind of anticipation before. It was as if she was peering behind a curtain, trying to glimpse a truth that had long been obscured. Are they talking about the discrepancies? Ava mouthed to Thompson. His eyes widened in agreement. Suddenly, the cleaning lady paused, her expression shifting to one of concern. She placed a hand on the man's arm, drawing him in almost conspiratorially. The air thickened with unspoken words and emotions. What if she really does have a secret? Ava breathed, her own voice barely audible now. She leaned in closer, straining to catch every inflection, every nuance. Thompson's voice broke through the stillness. Ava, what if she is trying to warn him? What if something bigger is at play? A shiver crawled up Ava's spine. Could this cleaning lady be a conduit for change? A bearer of warnings? Her heart thumped wildly at the thought. Just then, a loud bang echoed throughout the break room, causing all heads, including the cleaning lady's and the stern man's, to swivel around. A janitor's cart had tipped over, sending supplies skidding across the floor. The clatter shattered the moment like glass, and Ava's stomach sank. "Let us go," Thompson urged, pulling Ava back slightly. "This is too risky." But Ava felt immovable. "No, wait. I can't leave. I need to know what happens." Before Thompson could protest, Ava took a step forward, fueled by curiosity more than caution. She needed to understand the connection, to uncover whatever was brewing, but as she angled for a better view, she caught a glimpse of the cleaning lady's eyes locking onto hers. In that instant, an unmistakable spark ignited between them. Recognition, perhaps? A shared understanding? Ava's breath hitched in her throat. What if the cleaning lady did hold the key? What if everything hinged on this very moment? A rush of determination filled her. This encounter felt too significant to ignore, too powerful to let slip away. The world pressed on her chest like a weight, pushing her to make a choice. "Stay back, Thompson," she whispered, taking another step forward. "I need to hear what she has to say." But as she moved closer, a stifling fear gripped her. What if she wasn't meant to hear it? What if this moment led to unexpected consequences? Ava's heart thudded in her ears as she contemplated her next move. Would she risk everything to learn the truth? Would she walk bravely into the looming unknown, and what was it the cleaning lady was about to reveal, one way or another? With each passing second, tension built like a coiled spring waiting to be released. The air around them shimmered with possibility. Ava felt a thin line of fate bridge the distance as she took another step forward into the uncertain light. Was this her moment? What awaited her on the other side of choice? Ava's heart raced as she teetered on the edge of an uncharted path. The cleaning lady's eyes held hers with an intensity that sent a heady rush through her. This was no ordinary interaction. What was about to unfold could spiral into something life-altering. Ava inched closer, straining to hear through the renewed bustle caused by the fallen cart. The stern man, visibly flustered, straightened his tie, attempting to regain his composure. "I don't have time for games," he snapped, though there was a flicker of something softer beneath his tough exterior. Ava felt a swell of hope. Perhaps he would listen. The cleaning lady, undeterred, responded in a calm, measured tone, where the once curt conversation became something deeper. That's when Ava noticed, with a jolt of surprise, that her words shifted from English into fluid Japanese. It was a language so rich, and yet so foreign in this context, yet Ava recognized a few key phrases, enough to comprehend the weight of each syllable. "Trust, listen, the truth will come out," the cleaning lady said, her voice steady, like a lifeline cast into turbulent waters. Thompson stood a few paces back, uncertainty etched across his face. "Ava, this is insane. We can't be here. What if he finds out?" But all Ava could do was shake her head, entranced. In this moment, the cleaning lady transformed from an invisible figure into someone of monumental importance. Was it possible she was here to unearth the very truth they'd been chasing? The man's expression began to soften, tension melting away under the weight of her words. He leaned in closer, almost conspiratorial. "What do you know that I don't?" The plea in his voice surprised Ava, bridging the gap between arrogance and vulnerability. The cleaning lady didn't wait for hesitation to settle. Her voice resonated with conviction, a simmering passion that sparkled in each carefully chosen word. Your organization is built on a lie. I've seen it from the inside. If you want to save this company, save your integrity, you need to listen to me. Ava felt a dizzying mix of exhilaration and fear. This was the moment she craved, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 consequences. Could everything really hinge on this woman who had mopped the floors and emptied the trash? Her mind spun with possibilities. On the other side of the break room, the door swung open, pushing in a rush of cold air. All heads turned, and Ava's heart sank. In walked the company's CFO, a formidable presence with eyes like cold steel. What is going on here? The cleaning lady's gaze flickered to Ava again, a silent plea flashing between them. An urgent need for discretion was palpable. Would this abrupt interruption ruin everything? Ava felt a surge of protectiveness toward the woman who had seemed so powerless just moments ago. Thompson, she whispered urgently, we can't let this moment slip away. She's right. We have to help her. But what if it backfires? Thompson's voice trembled, anxiety tightening the air around them. A decision loomed like a cloud threatening to burst. Would Ava step into the light and risk it all? Or retreat into the shadows, letting this strange but compelling moment fade into nothing? The cleaning lady stood firm, seeming to read Ava's turmoil. You have a choice, she said softly, her voice breaking through the chaos. You can be part of the truth, or you can let fear dictate your fate. Ava opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat. She could feel her heart beat harder, each pulse echoing the gravity of the situation. Was this her chance to dive into the unknown and uncover the truth? In the chaos of the break room, everything felt poised on a knife's edge. Would she seize this incredible moment of revelation, or let the opportunity slip away? Just then, the CFO glanced directly at Ava, piercing through the haze of uncertainty. Who are you, and what do you know? Ava's breath hitched, and she realized her voice could change everything. Would she dare to speak? Ava's mind raced. She could feel the weight of every gaze in the break room directing its attention toward her. The CFO's icy stare felt like daggers, cutting through the uncertainty. The silence stretched, thickening like fog. She opened her mouth, but the sound seemed stuck behind her teeth. I've been hearing things, she managed to stammer, feeling the heat of embarrassment rise in her cheeks. About the company. About what's really going on. Her own heart hammered as she spoke, a defiance surging within her. The CFO raised an eyebrow, skepticism written all over his face. What could you possibly know? You're just an intern. The words stung, but they ignited a fire inside Ava. And you're denying that someone's been covering up issues? You think I don't see? She glanced at the cleaning lady for support, and the older woman nodded imperceptibly, her gaze an anchor in the storm. I've been here long enough to understand that something isn't right. The CFO opened his mouth to retort, but the cleaning lady stepped forward. Listen to her, she urged, her voice steady. She has more insight than you realize. This isn't just a question of the company's future. It's about the integrity of every person who works here. Ava looked between the two of them, each compelling in their own way. What are you afraid of? She pressed, her voice gaining strength. If you hide from the truth, it won't just disappear. It'll haunt you. It'll take everything down with it. Just like it has been. Tension crackled in the air like static electricity. The CFO shifted uncomfortably, his bravado cracking under the combined pressure of Ava's earnestness and the cleaning lady's unwavering strength. Who are you? You're just a kid playing at being a hero. This is bigger than you can understand. His tone was harsh, yet beneath it, Ava sensed a flicker of fear. I may not understand everything, but I know that silence is a poison, Ava shot back, her heart racing with each word. She couldn't help but feel the potential for change stirring within her. We all have a choice. You can bury your head in the sand, or you can confront the truth, however ugly it may be. The CFO glanced over at Thompson, perhaps expecting to see support for his stance. But Thompson only shook his head, his expression betraying the doubt that had been festering for quite a while. "Maybe we need to hear what she has to say," he finally said, the words hesitant yet determined. Ava couldn't believe what she was hearing. A crack had formed in the facade. She locked eyes with the cleaning lady, who stared back with a mixture of gratitude and urgency. "I've seen things you're unaware of," she said, her voice commanding attention. "There are emails, transactions that should never have happened and names. I can help you connect the dots." Ava felt the atmosphere shifting, a glimmer of hope breaking through the tense cloud hanging over them. "Then let us follow the truth together," she said, buoyed by her own bravery. Before the CFO could respond, the heavy door swung open again, revealing another figure that sent a chill down Ava's spine. It was the head of security, a hulking man with a reputation for ruthlessness. "What's going on here?" he barked, confusion and suspicion clouding his face. The atmosphere shifted again, a palpable tension now slicing through the solidarity built just moments before. Fear settled heavily on Ava's shoulders as she wondered what might happen next. Would their newfound alliance be enough to withstand the secrets looming over them, or would it all crumble in the face of authority? Everything teetered on the cusp of revelation. Would they stand together against the weight of the truth, or would they falter in the face of destabilizing forces? Ava inhaled deeply, trying to ground herself in the moment, knowing that her next words would be crucial. "We need to talk about what's really happening in this company," she declared, her voice steady, even as her heart raced. Did she have the power to change anything here, or was it too late? Ava's voice lingered in the air, the weight of her declaration hanging heavy like a storm cloud. The head of security narrowed his eyes, scanning the room with mistrust, as if he could sniff out the fear mingling with resolve. "What do you mean by that?" he demanded, stepping closer. The caution in his voice was drowned by the palpable tension gripping the room. "Look, I know about the emails, the reports. I heard whispers." Ava rushed out, her heart pounding like a drum. She felt the urge to retreat but pushed it down. "We can't ignore what's happening here. If we don't confront it now, it'll only grow worse." The CFO's expression darkened, and the cleaning lady, named Rosa, seemed to sense an impending backlash. "This is bigger than anyone in this room believes," she spoke up, taking a brave step into the fray. "I've been here long enough to see the cracks, the cover-ups, the lies. Silence might protect you now, but in the end, it'll destroy you." The security chief held his ground, but his grip on authority slipped a little. "You're both out of your depth," he scoffed, yet backed off slightly, a flicker of uncertainty flashing across his face. But Ava wasn't finished. "Maybe, but we can't let fear dictate our actions. If you have something to hide, isn't it time to rethink that?" She felt the room shift. Doubt hung heavily in the air, swirling around and weighing down the shadows of the past. Thompson, a man of few words, leaned against the counter, arms crossed, his brow furrowed in concentration. What if she's right? His tentative question took everyone by surprise, including himself. What if we've been pushing aside things that could harm our integrity? Rosa nodded solemnly. This isn't just business anymore. We're talking about lives affected by those decisions. Keeping quiet helps nobody. The head of security shifted again, glancing towards the CFO, who was now clearly rattled. "You think I'm just going to let this happen?" he barked, raising his voice defensively. This outburst snapped the fragile unity they were building, but Ava wasn't intimidated. "What are you going to do? Silence us? Drive us away?" Her voice was steady, proud of her own boldness. "It won't work. We will fight to reveal the truth." She wasn't just speaking politically, it felt personal, as if she were fighting for every person who ever felt powerless. Suddenly, a rustling from the back startled everyone. The door creaked in and a few employees wandered in, drawn by the raised voices. They halted, eyes darting from one tense face to another. "Is everything okay?" One of them asked, a clipboard clasped tightly in her hands. Rosa took a breath, the fire of conviction igniting within her. No, it's not okay. This company is on the edge of a cliff, and we need to act now or risk falling off. The weight of her words hit them like a sudden gust of wind. The CFO, cornered, shifted his stance. We can have a discussion, but I won't be bullied, he warned, though Ava caught a glimpse of his uncertainty. Ava sensed the pivotal moment hanging in the balance. We don't want to bully anyone. We want to work together. The sincerity in her voice rang true, like a beacon of hope. Suddenly, Rosa stepped forward, her voice unexpectedly firm. And that's why I can't back down. I've seen more than any of you realize. I've seen the threats, and I know there's a bigger picture at play. She paused, locking eyes with Ava and then with the others. It's not just about us, it's about everyone counting on us. Ava could feel the breathlessness in the air, anticipation growing with each moment. Would they take that step forward? Would they choose to break free from the chains of silence? As their eyes searched each other's, a new resolve began to forge among them. Together, they stood on the edge of something monumental, but just as the tension seemed ready to shatter, the CFO's phone buzzed, cutting through the lingering silence like a knife. He glanced down, his face paling as his brows drew together. This isn't over, he muttered, just loud enough for them to hear. Before storming out, Ava felt her heart drop. What did that mean for them? She turned to Rosa, whose own face betrayed a flicker of concern. Did we just open the door to the truth, or was that the last chance to back away? Ava whispered, uncertainty creeping in around the edges. The answers weighed heavily on them, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to unravel. Would they stand united, or would they each slip into the dark corners they hoped to escape? With fierce determination, Ava resolved to find out. Their journey was just beginning, but little did they know, the next step they took would lead them into shadows deeper than any of them expected. Ava stood frozen, the air thick with tension as the CFO's departure echoed in her mind. She glanced around the room, trying to gauge the reactions of her colleagues. Rosa's eyes were reassuring, but uncertainty lingered in the space between them. Thompson's brows were knitted in deep thought, his arms still tense against his chest. In that moment, the reality hit her. They had opened Pandora's box, and there was no shutting it again. We need to come together now, she said, helping to break the silence that ensued. This isn't just about us anymore. We need a plan. Thompson rubbed the back of his neck, a sign of nerve she'd come to recognize. What kind of plan? The CFO will try to shut this down. If he is as connected as I think he is, we could be risking our jobs or worse. There's more at stake than our jobs, Rosa interjected softly but firmly. It's about what we stand for. We can't lose ourselves in fear. As if the universe was listening, the echo of footfalls sounded through the hallway. All eyes darted toward the door. One by one, more employees filtered into the room, drawn by the buzz of urgency. Confused expressions replaced their casual demeanor. They were stepping into the eye of a storm. What is going on? One woman asked, eyes wide and fearful, clutching her tote bag like a lifebuoy. Ava's heart raced. We're talking about matters that affect all of us. The emails are real, and the decisions being made here can impact not only our lives but many others outside these walls. She could feel the weight of her words pull the conversation taut. There was a ripple of discontent among the newcomers. Change was uncomfortable, fear clung to them like a thick fog. Still, Ava pressed on. I know this is unsettling. But standing together, we can push back against the darkness creeping into our company. Rosa stepped forward, passion lighting her eyes. We've been silenced for too long. People need to hear our voices. This is bigger than any one of us. It's about our integrity, our community. Together, we can make a difference. Even as she spoke, Ava sensed the hesitance in the room. Would they truly join their cause, or would they retreat into fear? She took a deep breath, drawing from the strength of those around her. This is a call for action. I believe in every one of you. What we do next matters. The murmurs began, small at first but growing into a chorus of cautious agreement. One by one, hands began to raise, offering silent pledges of support. Ava felt the spark of hope ignite within her heart. Just then, Thompson dropped his arms to his sides, revealing a newfound resolve. Okay, let us say we go for it. What's our first step? Before Ava could respond, a younger employee stepped forward, her voice trembling slightly. I can help collect the evidence. I've seen things too. She seemed almost fragile, yet her willingness was fierce. Good. Every bit counts. Ava smiled, feeling gratitude swell within her. As they all began brainstorming ideas, the atmosphere shifted, taking on an electric quality that made the air hum with potential. Their fears, once walls separating them, now felt like stepping stones towards something greater, and then, just like that, the lights flickered, plunging them momentarily into darkness. Gasps echoed, but Ava's heart raced not with fear, but with adrenaline. She felt a wave of power in the dark that whispered possibilities. When the lights returned, something was different. The door opened slowly, and a tall figure lingered in the frame. I can help you, the figure said, voice steady and clear. It was a man Ava didn't recognize, but something in his demeanor held authority. But first, you need to understand the depth of what you're facing. Ava's breath caught in her throat. Had she truly unleashed a storm, or was this stranger a sign that they had wandered too far into the unknown? She locked eyes with Rosa, uncertainty dancing between them. What could this man reveal? And would they be ready for the truth it brought? The room held its breath, the air thick with anticipation of what this moment could mean. Ava felt her heart thunder in her chest as the man's words hung in the air. The flickering light seemed to have ignited a fire within her, a determination she didn't quite understand but couldn't ignore. She glanced at Rosa, who wore a look of quiet encouragement. There was no turning back now. Who are you? Ava managed to ask, her voice steady, yet filled with curiosity. I'm Adrian, he said, stepping fully into the room. I used to work in upper management. I know things that can help you. But you need to be ready. Ready for what? Thompson chimed in, a protective edge in his tone. We've already put ourselves on the line here. Adrian met Thompson's gaze unwaveringly. You've scratched the surface. There's a web of corruption rooted in this place, and shining light on it will not be easy. The weight of his words settled over the group, each person processing the implications. Trust built slowly between them, and the fear mingled with hope. If Adrian could truly help, they might just have a chance to expose the truth and set their course right. What do we need to know? Ava asked, her resolve strengthening. It felt monumental, standing here with her once invisible colleagues, all determined to fight for something bigger than themselves. Adrian nodded appreciatively. First, you must gather evidence. Emails, documents, whatever pieces you can find. Reach out to sources inside the company. But tiptoeing won't work, you have to be bold. Rosa's eyes sparkled with newfound intensity. Then we stand together. We dig deep. We protect one another in this. Ava felt a wave of solidarity wash over her. They were forming a team, linked by purpose, all anchored in their truths and stories. Together they were like a tight-knit family, ready to defy the odds. Okay then, Thompson declared, his voice brimming with confidence. Let us create a strategy. We can meet after hours to work discreetly. Voices chimed in, discussing roles, tasks, and timelines. Each person committed to their part, stitching together shared hopes and dreams into a tangible action plan. It felt hard-earned emotions brimming as they formulated their course. As days turned into late nights, each member of the team took on their assigned tasks, collecting evidence, reaching out to employees, and scouring for information. Ava felt alive, no longer alone but surrounded by support. With every step, she embraced the pulse of possibility, the promise of change running through her veins. Finally, the day arrived when they felt ready to confront the higher-ups. The air in the boardroom was tense. As they entered, Ava's palms were slick, but determination coursed through her. They had gathered enough to make a statement. They were standing against the tide, united. Adrian stepped forward first. What we're revealing here isn't just data, it's proof. This company deserves to be better than what it has become. As those words unfolded, the atmosphere shifted. The executives across the room looked stunned, yet they couldn't ignore the gravity of the accusations laid before them. Ava watched a mix of disbelief and realization dawning on their faces. One of the executives gripped his chair, bracing against the upcoming storm. Where is this coming from? Ava took a deep breath, her voice steady. This comes from each of us. Each of us who felt the cracks and knew things were wrong. We've worked hard to uncover the truth, and now it's time to make a choice. She locked eyes with Thompson, who nodded in unison. Confident, the room buzzed with anticipation as they laid bare the findings they had meticulously assembled. What followed was a revelation that poured forth from their collective courage, a surge of clarity amidst the secrets. They weren't just revealing a flawed operation, they were advocating for each other, for the community, for every worker that had felt invisible. Days turned into weeks as change perfused the very fabric of the company. It was messy, complicated, and fraught with challenges, but Ava felt lighter. The weight of silence had been lifted. Together, they were crafting a narrative centered on integrity and truth. Standing in the break room, reminiscing about that defining moment, Ava felt a rush of gratitude. They weren't just co-workers anymore, they had become a family, a supportive, brave collective that refused to yield to fear. Hey, Ava, Thompson said one day, stepping beside her with a warm smile. What's next? Next, she mused, surrounded by friends, we keep going. We keep fighting for what's right. Because the moment we stop, the moment we forget who we are, is the moment we lose everything. He nodded, that familiar twinkle of pride shining in his eyes. We're in this together. In that moment, it was clear. Ava's journey transformed from that of a cleaning lady to a leader, galvanizing others to rise up and reclaim their voices. Through the struggle and triumph, they discovered a unity that brought them all closer, propelling them forward into a hopeful future. As the next chapter began, Ava knew they would face challenges ahead, but they were ready. They had uncovered the strength in their voices, and together, they would forge a path of authenticity, turning whispers into a powerful declaration of change. You need to subscribe now and join this journey of incredible transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this fire burning. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to see how courage and unity can change everything. We have the power to spread hope, let's do it together.